This podcast is recorded on Gadigal land. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Hey chicks, I'm Sal.
And I'm Al.
And this is Two Broke Chicks, a show that shares life lessons and tips to help make you rich in life. And today we are so excited. We are joined by an absolute modern day powerhouse. She's founded multiple businesses, including Tala, and she's also the host of the podcast Working Hard. Welcome to the show, Grace Beverley.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
You've been on
Thank you.
Thank you.
And she's also from the
board
OC.
for like so long. So this is so exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were one of the first people I wanted to get on when I came here, so the feeling is mutual.
Yeah,
Oh my
we're
God.
all best friends now.
Flirting.
Godmother of your future child, maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, she just kicked. She says yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yes.
We
it's a
bonded.
sign.
You weren't there. We were talking.
Yeah, that was actually private.
Yeah, we actually had a private DM.
Did you have BBM?
No,
Blackberry.
Blackberry Messenger.
Well, Blackberry's a big thing here. Sorry to leave you out, but it's the like people used to put in like their BBM status. So like someone would spend a weekend with someone or see someone on a Saturday, and it would be like your BBM status was like really short. So it would be like your name, or you'd put them in your like BBM name.
Shut up.
Yeah. So it would be like
Juicy.
Grace, and then it would be like Hot Alex, or like something like that, and like
Don't you love how
like a little
excited I
like
got about
yeah,
that? That doesn't exist. I was like,
and you'd see it pop up, and you'd be like,
Oh my
You'd be like,
God.
fuck this. Don't you remember when do you remember when Snapchat would rank who the snaps
Yes.
were?
Oh,
but
boy, do
then,
I.
Yeah.
But then they started revealing if the guy you were talking to was a dirty dog, because there was an emoji if you were both each other's top
Yes.
Snapchatter, but there was an emoji if they were yours but you weren't theirs.
so my friend found out that her boyfriend was cheating via that.
No
Yeah,
way.
and I have another friend who found out that her boyfriend was cheating via Snap Maps
Shut the fuck
because
up.
she was like, I know that house.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. But before we get into the
Yes.
episode, which I wish we could just talk about Snapchat all day long, but we like to start with our life lessons of the week. So would you like to kick us off?
Oh God, I have to kick you off.
You don't have to. We can start if you want us to give
Would
you.
you like to warm
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
warm
we'll
us
warm you
up.
up.
I'll
We'll
warm
warm
us
you
up. Okay, so my life lesson of the week is a clip that I saw from Giggly Squad's Tiki Toki. And it was that the difference between anxiety and intuition is that anxiety is a question. So if you're going...
Tell me more.
You're like, tell me more.
Tell me
so
more.
if you're like, is he cheating on me? That's anxiety.
Whereas
Rather
intuition's
than-
more of a fact.
Yeah, where you go,
Oh.
I think he's cheating on me. That's intuition. Because most of the time, if you're going from that, you're probably pulling in on evidence. You're pulling in from your gut. And the other difference is that anxiety feels like it's in your head, whereas intuition feels like it comes from your gut. So if you are whirling in your brain, that's anxiety. If you get the tummy drop, that's intuition.
That's really
Ooh.
interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes me think about the fact that one thing I've realised over the past year, and this is not my life lesson of the week, I will provide you with another. But there was like this article that was basically saying that your phone, it was like the whole point of the article was that your phone is the reason you don't feel sexy. But more what I took out of it was it was talking about the fact that your phone makes you in your head all the time. Whereas in reality, like in past generations, you've probably been in your body just as much as you're in your head. So like say you're walking around, say you're sitting in a cafe, say you're waiting for a plane, say like whatever it might be, like you're in your body, you're not in your head.
You're kind of just like existing and floating
Exactly.
through the
Like
world.
you're not thinking all the time, as in not to such like a, I don't know, like constant analysis, like all of these different things. And your phone puts you in that way because you're constantly in that like learning, absorbing information coming in mindset, which I feel like I was like, oh, that's so true. I'm never in my body. And now I try and like put myself into my body more times of the day. So I try and like, even if I'm walking from one place to another, I'm like, do I need music to do this? Like, as in, should I just have a walk?
Yes.
And then I try and do that.
Yeah, even showers as
tough.
well.
Yeah, same.
I don't remember the last time I went to the toilet and didn't take my phone with me.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
And they're in
Like, we
and
can't-
I don't know if I'm going to stop. I'm like, that's where I draw the line.
But it's true. It's like
yeah.
no wonder we have such increased anxiety when actually we allow ourselves to be in our heads when we're meant to be in our bodies.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can actually feel that. Like you feel the difference, just like you were saying with like head and gut. And I feel
you
that.
can tell where it's
you
coming
just
from.
100% can tell.
Yeah. And I
so
feel
it's
like
like
you
when
can
you
get
can-
so into the gut-brain
Yeah.
relation.
And we need to be in gut more.
yeah. Get in your
Yeah,
gut.
More like primal.
2026,
Get in your
year of
gut.
the gut.
I like that. My life lesson of the week is really serious. And it's that when you're standing on a set of stairs, you're never standing backwards.
Oh, no, I hate this. What have
How
you done?
crazy is that?
Ooh, I just got it.
Right?
Did
Do you get it?
you
Yeah, I
with it?
feel
because you're
uncomfortable.
either facing down or you're facing up,
So
but
you're
you're never
never-
backwards.
How
I don't
weird
like
is that?
I don't like that. That my anxiety just asked a question.
Now
Yeah.
you put her back in her head.
Yeah,
I
you
know,
call me,
so-
What have you done? Year of the gut is over. Year of the gut is dead.
Get on the stairs.
You're the head now.
no, hold on.
Everyone's happy.
Now hold on there, Grace. Let's break down.
Boys everywhere are thrilled.
Let's break that down. No, not for them. They can have the gut.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's your life lesson of the week?
So I would say my life lesson is I'm bringing back Lucky Girl Syndrome, which is
Oh my
fun.
God,
Yeah.
wow, this is great for you.
So
I'm taking
I-
notes.
But I just think that like I was once really in my Lucky Girl Syndrome vibe, and then it's easy to get out of it. And I mean it in terms of like a headspace. Like, you know, when you just repeat to yourself again and again, like everything just works out for me. Everything just works out for me. And you just gotta believe it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one thing that I've tried to, it's having its renaissance in my
Yes.
life at the moment. And I feel like you've just got to put in the work to do it, because it's very easy to get into the groove of just like going around and being like, okay, oh, this is annoying. Like I missed the bus, or like this happened, or
Yeah.
this happened. And it's like, realistically, how many times do those things happen and not have a way of like figuring themselves out, or like ending in the right place, or like whatever it might be? And I just think that actually, I don't know, I'm back to it. I'm back to everything that goes slightly wrong. It's like, oh, well, everything works out for me, so it's not gone wrong. There must be like a
We're just
reason
having
that
a
that happened.
redirection. You've got like the
Yeah.
brain spotlight on the good vibe
Yeah,
rather than the brain spotlight on the bad vibe.
exactly. And I
'Cause-
just like thinking of myself as a lucky girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And because when you're not in that headspace as well, even when good things do happen, you see them more as a checklist.
It's this like yellow
Yeah.
car theory.
Like you
Tell me
see
about
when you
that.
you
Oh,
think
when
about a
you-
yellow
like when
car.
you're looking out for a yellow car, I'm just like, the reason I look so confused is because I was like, have I just said this wrong? I was like,
No, I
have
think that's
is it a
it,
wrong
yeah.
car? But it's like when you say you're gonna
By
like when you look for something, then you start
yeah.
noticing them more. Otherwise, you don't notice a yellow car. So it's like that's the same with your luck. It's like you allow yourself to notice the things that go right, whereas like if you're negatively biased, you constantly notice the things that go wrong. And actually, just like I had such a day yesterday where I was just like, I'm so lucky. I'm the luckiest girl in the world, and it's not even like a showing off, or like it's a state of mind.
Yeah.
So that everything that goes a bit annoyingly wrong, you're like, okay, well that's fine, because I'm the luckiest girl in the world,
Yeah.
and everything works out for me. So I'm sure this is for a reason.
Oh, I love that. We have one of our best friends. We were in Europe and she came out as a lucky girl. And she was and the crazy thing was that she kept just calling herself lucky, that we then also started noticing all the things that she like that just worked out. Like we were like, fuck, lucky girl. Like we were like, oh my God, that even when someone so enthusiastically embraced it individually, we then also picked up on it. And
we reap the benefits of her lucky
Yeah.
girl
We were
syndrome.
like, no,
Hit
you'll
your
go Ash, you
headspace.
ask. Yeah.
Like it's not accidental. It has to be something. It's like it just has to be where your head is.
All right, let's get into the episode,
Let's
shall
do
we? Now we've got our life lessons out of the way. So, Grace, as we mentioned, you are aware of many hats. You've launched businesses, you have an incredibly successful podcast, but you studied music at Oxford, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny prank.
That's wild. Did you always think that you were going to be launching businesses? Is this where you thought that you would end up?
No, I definitely didn't think. I didn't like see entrepreneurship as a career path. It just wasn't something that like I was around or was like seen as. I don't know. I didn't see it. And so I think that in my mind, my career path was always like, I never knew what I wanted to do. Like I've always been so like envious of people who are like, I want to do this. This is the path to get there. Like, this is what I'm going to do, because I think I would lend well to that type of thing, because I'm like good at following that type of structure. But I've just never had that like direction, I guess, since super early. I just always, so I guess what I defaulted to instead was very much, what can I do that's the most impressive? I think that was something that when I was a teenager, I definitely always tried to do. And I don't think that was, I think that was from insecurity. Like, I think that was very much like, oh, I saw the response that got from people, and
so it was about impressing other people.
100%. And like the response that got from my parents, and like the response, and I was like, oh, okay,
external validation.
100%. Oh boy, my best friend. And so I think I still like her.
I mean, we clearly
give
all,
me some.
I think we clearly all do.
But I think that was like always my thing. I don't actually, so I always say, like, I used to want to be like a banker or a lawyer, or like basically anything that
someone goes, where?
Yeah, anything that if you said to someone, they'd be like, wow, impressive. And none of that was based on like an innate desire to do any of those things. I think it was more based on an innate desire to like prove myself. And I think that that's something that's been always part of me as a person. And I now try and like fight that pretty regularly, because I'm like, you don't need to be doing that all the time. Like, that's not how you build a life that you love. So I was always kind of like going towards that direction. And in the UK, it's a little bit different, I think, from a lot of other places, in that you don't need to study something related to the thing that you go into. So a lot of like banking or legal or any of these kind of careers, they don't necessarily hire from vocational degrees.
Wow.
They often hire from like humanities or whatever. There's definitely, I think, what I'd seen or what I'd been advised as a teenager is like, go to the best university you can for something you care about, and you'll be able to get a good job. And so I was really, so the music I studied, I think that it's a bit strange, because I think that you would assume if you were studying music, you'd be doing like performance and all of that. The specific degree I did was very specific to the university, and it was like all like the politics and philosophy of music. So a lot of the papers I did were all around like historical associations of music, so like political movements and the associated music, or like censorship around particular political movements and like what that meant in music, and like various other things.
Fun. Do you know what? That makes sense though, because when you kind of think about like movies that are either in America or in the UK, everyone always says, I studied at Oxford, or I studied at Harvard, or I studied blah, 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 blah. And they say the university. Whereas here you go, oh, I studied a Bachelor of Arts marketing, or like,
I think that's what happens when it's around like Ivy League and Oxbridge, because it's like, that's the important thing, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like people say to me far more like, oh, you went to Oxford, than like, oh, you studied music. I think the music bit's a bit of like just trying to make my like trivia card harder. But it, like, that was what I was just told to do. I was told to get into the best university you can for something that you are interested in, and you'd happily study for 3 years. And I was always really, really interested around that, like the influence or the existence of music in certain like political eras that reflected like Soviet Russia, for example, like what the music was like there in reflection of the actual political landscape, and then like music as rebellion and like all of those different things. So I was very interested in that. So the actual whole degree I did, I mean, it was all essay based. So I didn't do a single bit of performance as any of my degrees. So it's kind of like, it was a very specific humanity, I guess.
Yeah. But that still ladders up, because it's still a creative space. And also, I'm sure you built so many skills around critical thinking and research, which would come in handy with the research you do for your businesses, but also your podcast, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like, you can see the mind map of how like, even if what you did at uni doesn't exactly ladder up to what you do now in a way that is super obvious, there's links there.
Oh yeah, it's like tens of thousands of pounds worth of dinner party conversation.
oh yeah.
Like a niche knowledge around political eras and music, but like that's fine. You know, got to make myself interesting somehow. But I do very much, I don't know, I think that like the main things I learnt out of that degree were nothing to do with, as much as I learnt all of what was in the degree and like the independent study and all of that, it was more I started my first business in my first year at uni. So the entire time was like this massive juggling act. And I also, at Oxford, they don't let you have a job. So there's this like really, in my opinion, outdated rule, because I think that it only suits certain people from certain demographics, which says that you cannot have a job during term time. And the reasoning is because the terms are so short. So like semesters, I don't know, what do you call them? Terms? Semesters?
Yeah, semesters.
Yeah. So the semesters are so short, they're like 8 weeks. So you actually have more time out of university than you
so
have
they
in.
want you, like,
so they're like,
locked
you can
in.
do whatever you would want to do outside of that time, but you have 10,000 words a week, so it's like a very intense workload. And so they don't believe that you could uphold even a part-time job whilst also studying. And so, which is a different setup from the US system, for example, which they expect most people to need some sort of job or whatever it might be, or at least some people to, and therefore it would be understandable. There is actually a rule at Oxford that you are not allowed a job. So that was an added layer on top of everything I was doing, which was like, don't let anyone know that you are doing it. Like, it was like, you have to do this to a level that no one ever suspects or kind of could use against you the fact that you were doing a
this
job.
and that's why you did that. I want to kind of go back to something that you were saying before, though, about how you were kind of motivated to do things that you would feel impressed other people, and that external validation, which, like, we love a little bit of GST, right? But what was the journey like moving away from that and moving away from like the need to impress other people? Because I think that is such an inherent thing that's ingrained, especially in women, and also like the highlight reel of social media, to be impressive, to be like different and smart and all of these things. That how did you go on that journey of moving away from needing external validation?
So I'm definitely not there yet.
It's a journey.
I love a bit of external validation.
Like everyone does.
Yeah, I do think my life is now less based on it, but I think that I would be lying if I said that was due to mental strength rather than to the position I've got to in my career. Like, I think that it's probably quite easy for me to say like, oh, I've moved away from more external validation, when actually I've got to a place where I think I get probably enough external validation naturally every day based on the perception of me from people seeing my job, if that makes sense, rather than, oh, I
don't need it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's been conscious. Like, I've really tried to move away from that as a like decision-making protocol, because I don't think it's the right way to make decisions for your own life. But at the same time, it's not like that's turned off now. Like, I just do things for myself and for my own interest, because that is a big fat lie.
Yeah. Was it less about pulling away for it and more about leaning into it? And more about leaning into what like serves my validation, and then naturally that follows.
Yeah, so I think like switching to internal validation is an important part of it. Like, what can you get out of doing the right thing for yourself that makes you feel good, rather than doing the right thing because other people perceive it to be that way. I think it's also like when you're at the beginning of a journey of like knowing that you particularly go for external validation, it's really hard to separate those things, because usually what makes you feel good internally is the things that make you feel impressive externally or whatever it might be. So I don't know. I think over time I've definitely just tried to, it's not necessarily about not going for it. I think it's more about knowing that it should be the way I make decisions. So something can be impressive and something I still decide to do, as long as it aligns with like all of these other things that I want my life to be. But doing things purely based on the fact that I think that they're impressive and I'm going to be taken more seriously is just like a means to serve like the chip on my shoulder, which is not...
Yeah, I'm like,
needed.
is this decision coming because it feels good for me?
Yes.
And you would have to make a million difficult decisions, I would say, every single day, running, multiple companies and like the beast that like Tala is now. When you look back on your journey, is there anything that springs to mind that you think, I'd do that differently?
Oh my God, so much.
Oh, tell me.
I feel like it's a hard question because every decision leads you to where you are now.
Exactly.
So like even
So
like
you're
we're
like, I
talking about the
wouldn't
lucky girl syndrome.
Yeah.
So like for example, when I launched Tala, I launched it as part of a licensing agreement. And I did that because I didn't want to, because I'd already had Shreddy for 2 years and that had hundreds of thousands of customers. So I knew that there was going to be interest in this thing because I had eyes on me based on my other business and based on people being interested. Like the Shreddy customer was going to hopefully buy Tala, like they were the same demographic.
Yeah, they're in.
So I knew that to launch at the level we would need to launch at, aka for our first launch ever to be able to serve the demand, probably the first order was going to be like £500,000. And I was like, that's too much risk for me to take on personally, even though I didn't want to give away equity in the company. So I used the sales that I'd done from Shreddy and I went to pitch to people about essentially doing like a licensing agreement or a revenue split essentially. So like you could fit the bill and I could, and you get paid back for it essentially and with interest, but it's not like a formalized loan agreement and it's not a kind of, you don't get equity in the company. So I did that and then I decided I ran the company like that for the first year and a half. And then I realized that just wasn't going to work for the business. It was too complex. It was hard to hire people. The people I was working with just didn't have the same vision for the business as me. They were really happy to make it like a kind of merch company and just make it like serving a certain thing and like, I don't know, and compromising certain ethics and like all of that. And I just wasn't up for that. So I had to go through an extremely painful, like over 6 months legal process to get out of that. And that like nearly killed the business. So at the time, obviously I would have been like, I fucking wish I never did. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you so much. I'm a big girl now.
Can I swear? And you're like, yeah, and I went, cut.
yeah, it's your turn. Return the favour.
Exactly.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's amazing.
So I think that, like, obviously at that time I would have been like, I fucking wish I did that differently. But at the same time, everything done there and the pace at which we were able to launch, who's to say that we would have launched well? Like, who's to say that we would have had that first year and a half working well enough to get to where we did the next year and a half? And so I think that I'm not trying for it to be a cop-out answer.
No, I think
but it's
that's
kind
a
of
really good way to look at it.
it's how you have to look at things, because also like there are so many things that don't work out. There are so many like categories that we've tried that I thought would be amazing and that we invested loads of money in, and like they sold but they didn't sell how they should, and therefore you don't go into them and you've already spent so much time developing them. So it's just like I feel like having a business is that over and over and over.
Looking at it that way though really helps, what I would think helps with decision paralysis, because that is something that like I personally struggle with, being like, fuck, what if I make the wrong decision? And so then I end up sitting in paralysis where I don't end up making a decision, when in reality the best decision you make is the one that you end up making.
So one of the best decision-making frameworks I've heard about that I use all the time.
Now I'm
And
already
don't you worry, you have no choice.
I'm about to eat this.
So, is a decision a one-way door decision or a two-way door decision? A one-way door decision is a decision you make once and you cannot go back, or it's going to cost you thousands or hundreds of thousands or whatever, like whatever is too much resistance to go back. A two-way door decision is something that you can make a decision. If it doesn't work, it doesn't need to stay open. Like you can go back through that door. The large majority of decisions are actually two-way door decisions. They feel like one-way door decisions because you're like, shit, this is such a big life change, or like whatever it might be. Most of them are genuinely two-way door decisions. So I've learned that, as you say, the best decision is the one that you can make quickly and can make right. So, you know, the whole saying, like, make a decision and then make that decision right. Like, you don't just wait to see if it was right decision. You do the work. You do the follow through, like all of the things that actually is going to make that work. And so that's really what I go by, because in a business, you obviously have to make like an insane amount of decisions a day. And they all technically need to be the right ones. Realistically, they're probably not even close to the right ones, but we do the work to at least follow through enough to make them feel like the right one. Or you go, great, we tried that, it didn't work. we've done one more thing now that we know is a yes or a no for the business. That's still progress.
Yeah.
Like it might not be progress in the way that you thought it was going to be, but that is still progress. And so I think that is like, that's something that I've had to integrate into my everyday, is like, you make a decision fast and you understand what's one-way door or two-way door. Like a one-way door decision, probably, for example, from my example, would be getting investment from a fund that is completely unaligned to who we are. Like that is hella paperwork. That is going to be extremely hard to extricate yourself from. That is going to be just, it could sink the business and could take away your entire joy from the business. So that is a decision that should take months. Like it should take months.
Okay, so the one-way door decisions are the ones that we don't make these quickly.
No.
You sit on that.
And that
They
is the
should have
smart thing to
resistance.
do.
Yeah.
Two-way door decisions, you spend
You
too
can
much
go.
time on, you're going to make it the wrong decision.
Yeah. So treating all decisions like a one-way door is where you end up in decision paralysis.
Exactly.
And then treating all decisions like a two-way door is where you end up fucking up. Because then if you one's a one way
Yeah,
door.
but I think generally the lesson actually is that like that's correct with the one-way door, but realistically most decisions are with two-way doors. We just think they're one-way doors. Like it's so easy to think about like everything in your life as a massive decision. Realistically, that's just like, that's categorically not the case.
I like that analysis, or like that way of looking at it, though, because you could apply that in business or in day-to-day decision making as well. And you wear so many hats, like every single day you'd have so many different things that you have going on. Can you take us through what is a day in your life like, and what are the small habits that you put into place to kick off those goals?
Okay, so a day in my life, I'm going to give you a real answer soon, I promise you. It's hard to say because it goes back and forth and they're like many different types of days.
Yeah.
I'll give you like maybe an overview of what a week would look like, because I think that's actually like a better reflection of what overall looks like. Because also the businesses I run are different types of businesses. So some of them require different levels of input from me week to week. Then they all have crunch times, like all of that. So I just try and balance it out in a way where they're not going to have crunch times at the same time, and I can still get back to everyone, because it might be that like Shreddy's having a huge launch and it's like a massive thing, and like people at Tala still need answers from me that week, if that makes sense. So the way my week works is it's not split like by company, it's more split by type of work, because I think one of the mistakes people get into is switching between types of work. It's really hard. So for example, I obviously have a podcast. I don't record that every week, and I don't switch between that because I find it really, really hard. Like, to do a podcast in an engaging way, I have to be a normal human being. To do my work at my laptop for however many hours I need to do it that day, I need to be like an abnormal and probably quite like, you know, like very
Locked
to the point,
in.
like
Yeah.
locked in person, which just doesn't lend itself to like the funnest chats. So like Monday's my work from home day. I tend to keep it that way. I really like having the week bookended, if I can, with work from home, mainly because so much comes in throughout the week that I want to make sure I'm not bottlenecking any of the companies. I think that's one thing that's really come up for me over the past few years, is like, am I still reviewing something or approving something because it is me doing my due diligence for the company, or is this bottlenecking and therefore delaying everything? So that means that with Mondays and Fridays I can get through like a hell of a lot of work, because I am like a speed demon when it comes to me on my laptop. And so I do that, and I have all my standing calls. So I have a call with my chief of staff, I have a call with Tala CEO, I have a call with the commercial director at Shreddy. I basically have all like my, what do we absolutely have to do? Like, how are we making sure we're on the same page? They've had their call with their founder, so they understand like what top priorities are, or whatever it might be, or they're reporting certain things to me. And so we've got like a good state of play by the beginning of the week. Then Tuesday is my like intense meeting day. So I try and get as many meetings as possible. Like, I would rather have Tuesday filled to the brim than have meetings dotted the rest of the week, because again, I'm not good at work switching. Like, I'll do it, but I'm so productive when you can give me like a deep work block. So from the beginning of Tuesday to the very end of Tuesday, I will be locked in various different meetings. So that could be product meetings at Tala, that could be marketing meetings, that could be brand influencer, that could be, I don't know, it could be not a personal meeting, but like a personal brand type associated meeting. It could be all of these different things. So I try and do those like maximum possible.
Yeah.
Then on Wednesday morning, that's when I get any content done. So if I needed to do a brand deal, if I wanted to do some TikToks about some certain things, all of that, like I block out that time. So like you'll notice a pattern, which is like everything is like blocked in a very like routine way. And I find that's the best way to work. But I also think what works so well is like you've got to remember that 4 companies are vying for this time, and I don't mean that in a kind of I'm so popular way, but like if you need something from me, you need to know, okay, well if it's a meeting, it's probably going to happen on Grace's Tuesday. If it's some content, it's probably going to happen on her Wednesday. So in that case, we can request certain things by this date or whatever it might be, and that means everything keeps on flowing. There's no like, oh well, Grace might be shopping in Paris that day. I wish there was. But like, do you get what I mean? So it's like quite, it's relatively rigid.
And the hack is time blocking.
Yeah.
And also knowing your skills. So for example, for us, I think a whole day of meetings, we'd be like, we can't do that because we know that by 2:00, the final 3 meetings are going to be pointless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas like for us, we're like, we know that on Fridays we're in a good mood. In the morning we're fresh. So that's when we record the podcast. So it's like understanding your strengths and weaknesses and allowing time in the schedule to support those strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. It's like knowing yourself is the best productivity hack you could ever have. Like everyone can say, oh, do this, do deep work, do time blocking, do the like whatever method, like all of this. The best thing you can ever do for your productivity is knowing yourself. So if you know that you crash after a certain time, if you know that you need a bit of a warm up, which lots of people think they do. Most people actually don't. They don't want to do their hard thing first thing in the morning. If you know that once you've had meetings, you're not very good at deep work, like all of these different things, you have to know yourself. And once you know yourself, that is how you can actually plan your life. Like all of that is based on me. So like Wednesday morning filming, for example, if I've had meetings in the morning, I'm not going to film because I will be in a completely, well, I'll just be in a completely different mood. Like I'll be in a problem solving mood. I'll be in a, like, I want to like bash us out with this team so that we know what the strategy is or whatever. So you want me to go on like a cute little chatty TikTok? Absolutely fuck not. Like no one will enjoy that TikTok because I'll literally be like, meow. So like I know that has to be first thing in the morning. I want to see this coming but like out. I'm not, I don't know. I've got many different modes and I'm fortunate enough to be in the position where I can design my week around those. And of course there are certain things that come in. So for example, like every product meeting you have, not like a one-to-one product meeting, like a product department meeting, those are like 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So that's going to be a whole morning or a whole afternoon. So I'm not going to use my Tuesday meeting slots for that. That's probably going to be a Wednesday or probably going to be a Thursday, and that's probably going to throw off some of the rest of the schedule. Like you've got to stay flexible, particularly when I'm working at all these different companies. Like I cannot make things slow down for them.
Exactly. How do you manage, and not to say that this is something you've experienced, but if it is, like the imposter syndrome of it, because 82% of Gen Z workers feel like they experience imposter syndrome. And I'm very curious to know if you've had that experience or what your advice would be regardless, because you are so, not to use the word, but impressive. Like you've learned.
There's my external validation.
And there you go. There's your little cherry for the day. Yeah, you can go to bed. But like you just fucking are so smart, and like listening to you, you just know what you're talking about. I'm 100% sure you've put in all of the work to get to that point. But it's like, how did you get past imposter syndrome if you've ever had it? Or like, what's your advice to anyone that does feel like they have it?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, thank you. That was very nice.
Anytime. I'm still vying for that kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm flirting. Okay. Fuck.
HR.
There's no HR. Okay.
You're on your own. So I think that the first thing to say is I've absolutely had imposter syndrome. I think also worth saying that as much as I am technically Gen Z, I also started my first business 10 years ago. So there's likely, I know like lots of people started work at that stage as well. Yeah. But I think that like over 10 years, you do definitely, I think building self-trust and building self-confidence is a big way of defeating imposter syndrome because you know that it might be like an anxiety in your head. It might be something that you think you have, but realistically, if someone came up to you and were like, you shouldn't be here, you'd be like, yeah, I fucking shouldn't, this is why. So I think like that's an important part. I think that whenever I speak to people who work in a more corporate setting, for example, about imposter syndrome, the first thing I always say is that imposter syndrome is likely a reflection of your environment. So if you don't see many women in your position, if you don't see many black women in your position, if you don't see someone who looks like you or reflects you or is from your background, you're going to feel imposter syndrome, not because of who you are, but because of how the workplace is set up and hasn't necessarily come that far in terms of diversity or in terms of like diversity of background or like any of these things. So that means imposter syndrome is a them problem, not a you problem. And it's I guess useful to some extent, like you know it's there, but it's only information. It's not an instruction. It's not like, okay, well now you need to feel like this. It's just what the workplaces look like and where it looks now, and you can use that as some information that reflects them, not you.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite important. I also think that imposter syndrome is a really good thermostat for telling you whether you're outside your comfort zone or not. Because if you don't have imposter syndrome in your job for more than a year, in my opinion, you're probably not progressing at the rate you want to progress, unless you actually don't want to progress. There are many people who don't want to progress, and that is more than fine. Like, I will always be the biggest proponent for there are different types of work for different people, and you don't need to want to be a fucking CEO. Like, I don't think that even though social media makes that look so glamorous, like, I don't think that's suited for everyone. Not everyone even needs to manage people, like all of that. But I think that as part of that, what you can really work out is like, okay, I've not had imposter syndrome for a year or two. Am I pushing myself enough?
Yeah.
Like, am I doing enough things that put me out of my comfort zone, or that put me in a place where I think, shit, I need to do extra work for this. I need to maybe even read some books, like, to understand how to manage this like conversation or relationship properly. Or I need to watch some YouTube videos and some TED Talks and like all of that to actually learn and upskill. I think that actually the bigger problem is if you're not feeling it regularly.
That just gave me butterflies. Like, that literally gave me butterflies, because I was like, what a fucking amazing way to look at it.
But that's the thing. It's like so many, like, imposter syndrome is delivered to women as a, almost like you must have this and you must feel bad about it or you must fight it. And in reality, if I'm feeling that because I'm pushing outside of my comfort zone, like, why are we looking at that as a negative thing? Like, great, you're in the right place. Perfect.
Yeah.
So much. So you shall stay here.
Yeah,
I am now
exactly.
part of this
Every day.
podcast. Yeah.
Welcome to Three Broke Chicks with Sal, Al, and Grace.
Yeah, if you can't find your passport to get home, just don't worry about it.
I ate it. Literally.
Yeah. And then I guess if you're not feeling imposter syndrome, maybe it's because you're fulfilled in what you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
it could be that. Like, so for example, that's a really good point because, for example, I mean, I probably feel imposter syndrome still a few times a year, which is my indicator to myself that I'm not like coasting and I'm happy with that. But at the same time, I don't feel it every day, and maybe I've reached a stage in my career where I don't need to feel it every day. I do think that it's often asked to women in their 20s and early 30s, in the early stages of their career, where actually, if you're pushing yourself, great.
Yeah. You've completely altered my brain chemistry with that one. Great job.
Gorgeous.
Right.
Neurosurgeon.
I think a lot of the chicks listening would have had like a little light bulb moment then, because another thing that a lot of young women talk about or experience is also the feeling of being a people pleaser. And I know that this is something that you've said that you have experienced or do still experience, especially because unlike some CEOs and founders, like, you are also the face, the outward public face of your businesses and of the projects that you work on. What has your experience been like with that?
Well, I think that's one of the main reasons why I've actually tried as much as possible not to make the businesses like reliant on me. I mean, there are many different reasons why I've done that. Obviously, like, we've got investment at some of them. Like, you don't invest in one individual person. Like, it's not the smartest investment. Like, you invest in consumer companies that do well statistically based on a number of different things and a number of different metrics. And like, I worked a lot of time on making sure that all the like if you looked at the company's feeds now, for example, you'd probably take a good few scrolls and see me once, maybe twice. Like, so I think that, and I think that's been a conscious decision to make sure that I am not held back by this people pleasing thing, because a company, it should please its customers, but it shouldn't sway like the wind based on what one person says. Because if you've got hundreds of thousands or millions of customers, you're not going to please everyone with every drop. You're not going to make everyone feel happy about every decision. And you still need to be able to make decisions without getting that paralysis that you often get with like people pleasing and wanting to do the right thing for you versus other people and all of that. So I guess that's on the like business side. I think with me, I'm still a people pleaser. And I think that what I'm trying to do consciously all the time is make sure that I'm not a people pleaser to the extent that I'm living my life for other people. But at the same time, I also like a lot of my people-pleasing traits. Like, I like being a kind person. I like being a person who thinks about the feelings of others before I deliver something, or kind of making sure that I don't deliver something at a certain time so they don't feel a certain way. Like, I understand there is a difference between an empathetic and caring person and a people-pleaser, but I often think that, like, we tell women in particular, like, these are the traits you need to be a leader, and they're all these quote-unquote masculine traits. Actually, I want to be a leader with all of these quote-unquote feminine traits. Like, I want to be empathetic. I want to be understanding. I want to think about whether that person's had a bad day before I deliver some shit news, or I tell them their work wasn't good, or whatever. Like, I care about those things, and I think that the way it becomes an obstacle is when you can't live your own life because you're constantly living it for other people, and you're constantly trying to impress other people or to make them happy or whatever, and therefore you say yes to things you don't want to say yes to and all of that. So I've tried to get rid of all of that. But on the other side, I'm like, I'm not gonna, I want to please people. Like, as in, I don't want to please everyone. I don't want to please someone who's never gonna fucking like me. But at the same time, I want to please my friends. I want to please our customers. I want to please the people who have followed me for ages and have supported me and all of that. Like, that makes me happy. I don't need to just turn into some like robotic kind of, well, this is my life. Like, in my opinion, there's a bit too much of that.
So I think we could lead with a little bit more empathy in a lot of things. And we've said this, like, Sal and I have had these conversations because, you know, the more and more we are running our own business, we have those moments where, you know, we've said to each other, like, fuck, are we just not good at this? Like, are we just not good at the cutthroat way that people do business, or, you know, when they bring in lawyers, or how they just don't take things personally or whatever. And like, I know I've said to Sal, and I go, but we don't have to run our business like that. We don't like running business like that. And so when someone says to us, like, if something hurts our feelings with the way that someone runs something over here and we're working with them, and we go, well, that hurt our feelings, we don't like that. And they go, well, that's just business. And we go, well, that's not our business.
No,
that's not how we run it.
And I think that that's a common misconception. I also want to clarify as well, like, running a business and people pleasing don't need to be antithetical to each other. I think that where some people get that wrong, and where I've often got that wrong in the past, is trying to make the right decision based on what will make someone happy in the like immediate future rather than the long-term future. So for an example is, if you need to fire someone, if you look at it in a people pleasing like book, you might be like, okay, well, I need to not fire them because that will not make them happy. Realistically, in the long run, someone in the wrong company that you don't think is the right fit, that isn't doing a good job and is constantly getting negative feedback and just is not going to progress, the kind option there is to be clear with them so they can find the right place. It's important to make sure, like, I would always want to know if there was something going on in their personal life that meant that it shouldn't be delivered at that point, or like whatever it might be. But realistically, where people pleasing goes wrong is like the cutting off your nose in spite of your face. It's like the making the decisions that will make someone happy in the immediate future and make you feel better about yourself in the immediate future, but in the long run is actually going to make them more unhappy. The founder of Cult Gaia came on my podcast a while ago, and she one of the things that she said that's really stuck with me is just that clarity is kindness. And I think for a long time, the people-pleasing way I ran the business was trying to be as nice as possible around feedback or just people's work in general or any of these things. And that's not actually that kind. It might be nice, like it might be polite and it's been nicely delivered, but it's not actually that kind, because the kind thing would be to say, what can you do to make sure you still have this job? What can you do to make sure that there is a future for you here? What can you do to make sure that you're progressing? Like, I would much rather have a boss that is clear with me and delivers it in kindness, is clear, rather than deceptively nice.
Yeah.
Like, if you're that's actually not fair. If you're saying to me over and over, no, your work's great, and I get put on performance review.
And you're like, wait, what?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
when
like
people
that's
get
the
blindsided
difference.
or they can't grow.
That's the difference. So it's like clarity is kindness, people pleasing to make someone happy in the immediate future, which is going to piss them off in the longer term future or upset them in the longer term future or make them confused in the longer term future. That's not people pleasing. So the people pleasing we actually need to get rid of, in my opinion, is the perceived people pleasing that's actually, it doesn't please anyone.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God, I'm learning so much. I'm like, this is good stuff. Someone write this down.
I do want to ask you one more question though, because one of the reasons that you are in Australia at the moment is because you've launched Tala into the iconic.
Oh my God, yeah, thank fuck.
Congratulations and thank you. Like, we are honestly so grateful.
It's a charitable move.
Seriously, it was for us.
It is.
To be fair, I've never seen the response in my DMs like it. Like, we've launched in lots of different territories and I was literally like, oh.
No, I don't think you understand. Like,
Australia
this
needed
means a
Tala.
lot. We did. And we've spoken about Tala and given our own like product recs and stuff on the show before, but we want you to share for any Aussie chicks who haven't shopped it yet, what would be the one product that they need to add to cart
Oh my God,
right now?
one is hard because
I know, but
we do tops and bottoms
Okay, you can
differently and well.
pick categories if you want.
So tops, what we're known for generally is like ultra flattering. Like, that's what we're good at. And so that means that our tops, like the really flattering ones, you will never have seen yourself look that good.
It's
So,
true.
yeah.
I have like 4 in like the. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
You go on.
No, it's okay.
I want to hear you talk about your boobs and our tops.
Yeah, literally. Well, as two like members of the Big Titty Committee who usually always have to wear a bra, I think it was probably the first time I've been able to wear a top without wearing a bra.
But that's I think what makes you understand that it's a like women owned and run company.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can tell that this was like 20 women in a room being like, no, I need the seam there. And like half the people will have a big bust, half the people won't, like all of that. So it's like making sure there's a variety of products for both. Like that's what's really important. I'd say the double layer vest for a top is like, first of all, it's really chic because it's like, I feel like not everyone's into super matching sets at the moment and they're contrast. So you've got like the lower layer is a different color from the top layer. So it kind of looks like you've thought about it. Like you've thought about your outfit.
Like a bit of styling has gone
you've
into
layered
it.
You've got your halter, you've got your strappy, like all of that. And they're contrasted, which I feel like is really nice. So I'd say that double layered top also, it is called the boob job top for a reason.
Oh my God.
The lift, the girls.
To double layer.
You see an order come through.
Job. Okay, very good. Got that. Next.
Then I would say it would have to be the Dayflex flares. Those are like our cornerstone. Like, we've seen data that shows that people who buy Dayflex flares first often come back twice and buy 2 more Dayflex flares before they even move on to another product, because that's how good they are. Like, they're just so flattering, they're so comfy, they're really good for everyday wear. And I feel like Australia might be more leggings than flares. Like,
Probably.
Yeah.
I think we're flares girlies, but
Yeah.
I think
they're more flattering on more people.
I just think flares are fun.
And they're chic.
Like, they're comfy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like when the grip of like a legging the whole way down, sometimes I'm like,
I feel like I
I
just look
can't
like a bit of an
breathe.
elf sometimes.
yeah, like I'm just like,
It's like with the socks and like all of that, I just feel like do 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 do.
Yeah.
Like I'm meant to be doing a jig.
My favorite is the sculpt. We
Oh,
had this conversation.
have you tried the Ultra Sculpt?
What was the first one that
The
came
first
out?
one was the Sculpt.
Yeah, I've tried
And that's
those.
like super comfy as well as
yeah,
flattering.
and I've got the long sleeve, the t-shirt, and the singlet.
Oh, love.
and was like, and
She's
I'm
got
gonna
her
get that
set.
in black and brown, and I have the like kind of like light khaki green. You know that one? Do you
Good
know?
choice.
Do you know?
Yeah, do you
know
have
this brand?
I have heard of Tala. Yes.
Yeah, those are my like high rotation.
Love that.
Yeah.
And so good because now we can shop it so easily on the
I know.
Iconic.
Well, exactly. And they've chosen good stock. I always say because wholesalers, they choose their stock. It's not the
Yes.
other way around. So like
Yeah.
every time, obviously,
didn't
since
know
we've-
that.
Yeah. And sometimes some brands don't let retailers buy certain ones because they might be like, that's our hero style. You have to come to the site for it. Some of them will have the opposite thing where they'll be like, that's our hero style. So we need every retailer to have it. We, for example, like we don't mandate anything. We show what our like best selling collection is, which is like a lot of that like continuity, like always on. You can always buy that stuff from the website. It's not like changing with the seasons. We might have new colors, but it's like always there. But I always say, because like since we've been on the Iconic, I've obviously been getting so many DMs this week of being like, they need to add this. They, like, can you put this on the Iconic? And it's like, sorry, Iconic girlies, because literally everyone I've been like, yeah, go to the Iconic. I'm like, literally, like, you need to beg them, not us. Like things
That's
like,
good feedback for them to have, though. I'm sure they
oh
would
my God, 100%,
appreciate that.
they want to have things that
insight.
people will buy.
Exactly.
Like that's the whole point of the relationship. And they were literally like, obviously, because we did the Bondi Beach Walk this week, and literally like, I mean, it was 150 people, and those tickets went in 2 minutes.
That's so
Wow.
good.
And we were like, what the fuck? And then they were like, we kind of need to get more stock. There's a
Asking
whole
for a
lot of
friend.
interest.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I could literally listen to you all day, every day, and I'm not letting you
Perfect.
go.
Well, that's good because I'm now your third co-host.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally. And
New job.
I'm just so glad we were able to have you on, because you have so much wisdom and so much intelligence that you so willingly share to everyone. So for anyone who's not familiar,
Where have you been, firstly? But that's okay.
where can they find you? I'm in a weird mood.
I'm always in a weird mood. They can find me at Grace Beverley on kind of everything.
Everything.
I'm everywhere.
Quick little boo.
No, but like, yeah, just at Grace Beverley. And then I've got like the company links in my bio as well.
So
Amazing.
you
We'll
can
put
have
them
a
all in the
little
show
mooch.
notes as well. Little plug.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on just everything.
Thank
and we're
you.
so excited for this next chapter for you as well.
Woo!
We'll be watching from the wings.
Gonna go shopping after this. At the
Seriously.
airport, be like, beep, 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 beep. All right. Well, thank you so much, chicks. We'll catch you on Tuesday.
Thanks for having us in your ear holes. We love to be here.
Bye.
Bye.